in Pennsylvania, Braddock, which is a suburb of Pittsburgh, and brought it back from the brink, saved one of the original Carnegie libraries that's there, formed a ceasefire peace treaty between the Bloods and the Crips in the city. He's enacted all sorts of great social programs, and now he's the lieutenant governor of Pennsylvania and has been routinely belittling the Trump administrations for their attempts at a coup. It's really quite lovely. Nice. Here for that. Yeah, so once again, I digress. But yeah, I'll post links, footnotes to John Fetterman, and I'll send you guys got to check him out. He's really quite wonderful, and very, very funny presence on Twitter. And his wife is really quite a force within and of herself, and it's hilarious to see the two of them standing next to each other because she's a tiny little woman. He's this massive guy. Nice. And he's always joking around. He's like, I'm the lieutenant governor and everybody loves her. And I get no, he posted Rodney Dangerfield. I got no respect for him. But Pennsylvania, I mean, it's like another classic example of the Rust Belt of America that, we saw it so much in this year, and I don't want to go. Not even just this year. I mean, it's been like that, and in a lot of areas of PA for a long time. But yeah, no, I got to ask you real quick. You mentioned Brian Keene. Is that Brian Keene, The Rising Brian Keene? Yes, The Rising Brian Keene. Oh God, that was such a good book. Yeah, no, Brian's like. I never read the sequels. I only read the first one. Someone told me don't read the sequels. Oh no, I really liked City of the Dead. And it's bleak, and he's built like a whole. He's got like this whole multiverse. It was definitely much more realistic than a lot of other zombie movies like that. Women would have been chattel at that point, and how everything would have digressed into basically like feudal society and stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to ask about that. So I'll go back to the movie. So my first impression of it was it was a bit of a slog. And it is. I say that as someone like I understand a slow burn, but in my opinion, and take this for what it's worth, I'm not a filmmaker. I've never made a film. I can't I can't act for shit. No, God, yes, he has. I've only seen a couple. You were talking about your tradition on Christmas Eve, how you wrap presents, and please tell us about your Christmas Eve tradition because it's so lovely. because it's exactly what I was. This is how everybody should do it. Everybody should wrap their gifts the same way. You lock yourself in a room so that no one can see the gifts, and you put on Die Hard, and then you watch that, and then when it's done, you take that out and you put in Die Hard 2. Now, when that ends, if you're still going, then you put in Lethal Weapon. If you run through all three, the fourth movie should be Scrooged. Boom! That's fantastic. That is a great Christmas Eve tradition. All right, I'm going to bring in something for to throw on top of that, Brian. And if you get this reference, then you're going to get something wonderful in bed later. Do you really think I'm not going to get the reference? Okay, because you said Die Hard 2. Yes way. Oh, yeah. Because he was nude in the beginning of that movie. He was. You saw total tush. Nude, and he was in way better shape. Do not overlook my butt. I work out all the time. Way better shape in that movie than I have ever been in my life. But anyway, so but to me, so you guys got a snort out of me, and I wasn't going to mute it. I had a little. So to me, it's like a slow burn has to be damn near perfect to really come off, and if it's not close enough to it, it'll feel way too much like a slog. And the movie that I think is the quintessential description or example of that is Midsummer. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. I was bored to death watching that movie. That movie was 2 hours too long. And I get people like, oh, it was so great. It was such a slow burn. It's like slow burn and boring are very, very close. It really depends. If you have someone like me that has ADHD,
you can't watch a slow burn and be like, oh, it's a slow burn, but I'm really getting all the tension. If you don't keep the tension high, it's not enjoyable. And like this movie, I just kind of felt like there were a lot of scenes in it that were just, I don't know, at least 15, 20 seconds too long, or it, took too long in a shot or something like that. And that's
a totally legitimate criticism, man. I mean, absolutely believe me. And as somebody who knows Mike, like he loves to hear a criticism like that, as opposed to what he's getting on Amazon with 1-star reviews where people are like, ending doesn't make any fucking sense. It's so stupid.
Well, the only question I had at the end was whether Santa was the reason for the apocalypse. That he just got tired of everything and just wanted to kill everybody who ever believed in him.
Wow, that's really fucking dark.
Welcome to Brian's.
Wow. Oh my God. I gotta fucking call Mike right after this. Tell him that. Wow, that's fucking grim.
I'm a pretty warped person, if you haven't guessed.
Holy shit!
But like the Santa part that was fine, and that made sense. The whole Santa part seemed out of place, and I'll explain why. Because most of the movie was really only focused on the mom and her dealing with, their survival ability and, her nightmares, and with the kid and the husband leaving and not coming back. And then the Santa thing was just like out of nowhere, just like, wait, what the fuck just happened? And because it didn't seem like it jived with the movie. And that's kind of where I was kind of getting with that it dragged a little bit too much. It made sense when you told me that it was a short story he wrote. So for me, if that was a short film, if that was like maybe a 20-minute short film,
perfect.
I think that would have been fucking amazing.
Yes.
And if he ever edited it down for that, that would be awesome. I didn't think.
Well, I think 70 minutes might be a little long, but I think you could do it. If you did it as like a 1 hour format, I think a 1 hour, a 1 hour version of it would be tighter. I think 20 minutes you don't really have 20 minutes to tell the whole story, But
what in reality, what, and I know this is going to sound like addicting to say, but like what story was there to tell? Like what couldn't be told in 20 minutes?
Oh, well, I just think I think it's just I think it's more complex than that. I think you need more than 20 minutes to.
I just feel like the story itself is self-explanatory. There wasn't enough really to it. It was more of, the majority of the film is just really setting the tone. It's really just setting like, how desperate she is and, trying to get the connection to the character and whatnot. And then, another reason for the nightmares of, just projecting her fears of everything and her trying to cope with everything. Who knows? Maybe 20 minutes be a little too short. Maybe like I wouldn't go more than a half hour. To be perfectly honest with you, I mean, you look at a series like that's more recent from Netflix, which a couple of years ago was Love, Death, and Robots.
Oh,
and
yes,
yeah. Actually,
that was all.
Joe there's a story in that's based on a Joe Lansdale story, as a matter of fact. Yeah,
yeah, and that was all short vignettes. They were not long at all, but they could tell amazing stories with character connection as very short. I think the longest one was like 17 or 18 minutes. And they were just amazing. But I feel like a lot of those, if they tried to make a full-length movie out of it, it wouldn't have worked out. It wouldn't have been like what was the one, Battle Angel? Alita.
Alita.
It would have been more like that. Like that I felt was that when that movie was over, I was pissed that it wasn't going to keep going. And I know that the internet has opinions about that too, but I don't know. I just felt like this was a little long. I mean, I liked the acting in it. I think the acting in it was pretty decent, especially for a like more of a B horror movie. It wasn't. Especially from the actress who played the mother.
Yeah, Hope's excellent. Hope Bickley, she's really, really great. And she
wasn't at all over the top or anything, which was, you see a lot of that in lower budget movies, is that the people try to be too over the top or try to push too hard at it. And I mean, she didn't do that, and that's equally her in direction, because I know the director has a lot of say in how things are portrayed and whatnot. But
there's also Brian, you also have to give credit to the two things we talked about after we watched it. There were subtle things that were phenomenal that if you didn't pay attention, you'd miss it. And I mean, I'm talking about when the last meal before Christmas was ham and pineapple. Like, holy shit, that was such a specific Christmas dinner. She saved the ham, spam, whatever.
Yeah, the spam
and
with
the
pineapple juice.
Like, that was, oh my God, of course that would be Christmas dinner. And that's all she had to give her son. Like, that was, and it was a subtle thing that made, wow, that's a great thing. The other one was the taking the bag. When she took the bag from the woman, sorry, I have a son. Like, that is what a mother would do. Oh, you're not going to make it. Your leg is, you're a survivor that's not going to live, whatever. I'm stealing your shit to save my kid.
Yeah. And I also like that the two action figures he had were both from Toxic Avenger.
Lloyd Kaufman signed off on using that stuff, by the way.
Oh, awesome.
I like that it wasn't like just two random action figures that, were supposed, that it was like, oh, I'm just going to play with these two people as if they was from the same movie. And the fact that he actually called him by the right name was like, thank you. Please, just thank you. Because I can't stand when movies do that and they have stuff that's related to geek culture and they don't like, look, I'm in IT. That's what I do for a living. Okay, so I cringe at 99% of the movies out there that portray anything computer related that isn't Mr. Robot, because all the other stuff is just straight up fantasy bullshit trash. They just throw buzzwords around and they have it's like nobody has any advisors on any of that stuff. But having stuff like that in there as someone who's into a lot of geek culture, that was excellent. It's so refreshing to see people do something like that, because for the most part, nobody really does, and it's annoying as hell.
The props, by the way, are Lombardo's original childhood Toxic Crusader.
Stop!
I called it. I said it was. I said it looked like the original and not the repro.
Yeah. All right. So I think
and he drew on the bottom of it. Ouch.
Yeah. Hey, man, he sacrificed a lot of stuff for making this film. All right. I think that is a perfect point for us to take a quick break. We're going to finish up our conversation about I'm Dreaming of a White Doomsday with my good friends, Cat and Brian, on this next segment of The Literate Nerds. We're going to take a break. Nerds. Figure we'll just start recording, and where we left off before, we were talking about I'm Dreaming of White Doomsday, and Kat had mentioned that when Hope grabs the bag from the wounded girl and says, "I'm sorry, I have a son," and you were saying that is exactly what a parent would do in that situation.
It was a very well thought of plot point to be like, yeah, humanity goes out the window when your kids are in trouble. Like, nope, I'm gonna steal. You're not gonna make it. I'm gonna make this hard call and that was wonderfully done. I like that was put in there. Yeah,
and I think that also you she's genuinely she genuinely feels bad about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I have to leave you here to bleed to death or starve or more likely die from dehydration.
Well,